It's all very quiet.
Waiting for something to happen.
We're all waiting for the meeting to start.
You gonna get in
You want to start early,
your
do
neck of the woods?
Yeah, there's no one else coming, so
I've never stopped raining. I've rained for about 5 months, stop, go on. Talk about La Nina. Yeah, no, I'm getting absolutely sick of it. I can't mow the grass quick.
I'm only recording it. I don't have the screen up or anything, so there's nothing to show.
Yeah, they're all starting to talk now that I'm ready to go. So what are we doing, Ross?
Tony, you've had a just very quiet audience.
All right, we'll start the meeting a little bit early so that we can have more time to vote on all the displays.
More like to finish the grub, I think. You'll like it.
You got plenty of cakes, I hope.
I think there's enough to go around here.
All right, welcome everybody to the Australian Numismatic Society's meeting 1222. Did we haven't counted the ones that we didn't, the months that we weren't here.
This is 122,
Yeah.
because the last one we had at Nobles was
122.
1221. Yeah.
And the one before that?
10th of May was 1220.
Okay. All right, so we're not fudging the figures by saying like every month we have a meeting. Well, welcome everybody. It's good to see you all here. After sort of all the ups and downs that we've been having in the past 6 months, you don't know what we're doing from one time to another. It's just crazy. We have apologies from quite a few people. We got Les Carlisle, Lindy Hall, Robert Tonner, John Menicus, Ron Bolden, Joe Detling, Murray Brad, Ross Prattley, Ian Sizeland, Pat Walsh, Jim and Chanel Noble. Okay. Yeah, so is there any other members that we know that should be here and not here? No.
Yeah.
Okay. We had unfortunate news that one of our members, Malcolm Johnson, had passed away. He was from Victoria, so we might, not everybody would have known him, but he was a member for over 44 years.
Wow.
So it was. It's funny how all of a sudden, you sort of get to know people after they passed away. So yeah. So anyway, look, we'll have a minute's silence, so if everybody can stand, and we'll have a minute's silence for Malcolm Johnson. Thank you very much. All right, and next month we have our meeting here again at Phil's house. It's in memory, at Phil's house on the 10th of January at 8 p.m. The topic is Numismatics of the USA. To bring all your quarters. Plus Rod's, our auction number 46 is going to close on that day, so you will have an opportunity to sort of have our final bids on the lots in auction number 46. Is it already started, the auction, or is it? When's the auction? Has it already started?
Well, I've got 30 lots on the website, and once I get the next 120 to 150 on, we can start it. But It's called PYFO, and then we'll get done.
Okay. It's just an inquiry,
Yeah,
not pushing it.
yeah.
All right, so Rod will obviously let you know as soon as the auction commences, when he gets his 150 lots up on the web page. But
Some very interesting items, because it's got lots of items from members.
how many different vendors do you reckon you'd have now?
Hmm?
How many different vendors would you have? How many people are putting lots in?
Oh, there's Les, Peter Lane, Bernie, Hugh Armstrong, George, probably 2 or 3 others as well who have small amounts.
So just those names alone sort of indicate to me that they're all long-time members, and they've always had really good collections. So if they're starting to sort of downsize, or if they're trying to sort of sort out their collection after all these years, well then obviously the stuff that they've got going on the auction or in the auction is going to be good quality product. So yeah, it's probably worthwhile having a good look at it once it's up there. And but as you know, the fact that it closes in January, on the 10th of January, when we have our meeting, we always get the last bid. so that's going to be good for us.
Yeah, but you still got to bid against the maximum bids.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you can outbid Tony Dalton, but it's going to cost you money.
Maybe Tony Dalton will show up at the meeting.
That's if he really wants something.
When he really he doesn't want to miss out on it. Yeah. Okay. What's this, Rod, about the AGM? All council members have agreed to stand. Oh, okay. So because of the COVID, we didn't have our normal annual general meeting back in
September.
September. But all the council members have agreed to stand again, and since there is no other candidates, they were all re-elected. So basically, it sort of, what we did is we just circumvented the 5 seconds of having it at the meeting, because normally what we do is say, does anyone want to contest anybody in the council? No one generally does, so immediately we were all voted back in anyway. So so that's
Save
what
some
we've-
time.
what
We'll
we've
just
done.
get on with it.
We've done before. Yeah, and with was Rudy a council member still?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I suppose there is a vacancy because passing of Rudy. So anyway, if you are interested in joining the council, just see Rod or myself, and we'll let you know how to go about doing that. Okay, now Rod is saying here that the Treasurer will give a presentation of the current finances and where we finished on the 30th of June 2021. So, Rod, off you go.
Right. I'll just give because we didn't have the AGM, so I couldn't present the Treasurer's report in September or October, and we didn't want to do it at Nobles in November, so I'll do it here. In a way, it's quite a good idea that it's done here. We're going to the the right-hand column, and that is the column for the 30th of June 2021. As you can see from that, we had an income of $18,440.93, and we had an expenditure of $14,763.70. And that's a bit higher than normal because it was a convention year, and so I've taken the convention money into that as well. Now the conference or convention actually worked out quite well, because if you look at the income from the conference, we got an income of $2,790, and the expenditure was $2,346. So we actually made a profit on the conference. So, indirectly, we didn't, because what I haven't included in the conference figures was some of the medals. We had conference medals that was given to members with their names on, the James Cook medals, and it was also given to the speakers. Now, those medals had been produced a year earlier for the James Cook 250th anniversary. So they were just spare medals. So all we had to do was get the laser engravings on it. And so the cost of producing those medals wasn't included here. And it ended up being about 50 odd medals. They would have cost about $10 each or so. So it probably made the difference between income and expenditure. But on paper, it looks like we made a profit. The bottom line is that we did make a profit for the year. The profit and loss, our bank account ended up with an extra $3,677, which was quite good. And that was including the printing, because we managed to get the two journals, that one we gave out earlier on in the year and one I'll be giving out in June. We got those printed in last year's accounts. So with the two journals included, it came out quite well. Actually, I lie. One of them was last year's account, one of them's in this year's account. Basically, our membership is going down. You can see our membership today is 144 members. You know, we've been up over 200 members in years past. So as the years go on, the numbers decline. Unfortunately, we're all getting older, and each year we lose 3 or 4 members. And basically, when you look at the life members, we now have 46 life members. We had about 80 of them at one stage, so it was quite a lot. I've sent an email to all the council members that I've made some new A&S medals, and I had hoped that they'd be here by now, but they're actually being mailed to us right now, so I'll probably get them next week. But they're basically the A&S medal, but on the reverse is a wreath, and with the sort of wreath around the edge of the reverse, it gives a lot of options as to what you can use those medals for. Now, I've made 100 in copper, 100 in silver, and 100 in gold plating, so they're only plated, and we can use them for almost anything. Now, the first idea is that there will be our conference medal here. So ideally, if we want to make a conference medal, all we have to do is get it engraved to say 2022 conference, Philas House, the date, and conference medal. If members want to purchase one, we'll also get the name engraved. So it can all be done now. With the laser printing, it's a hell of a sight cheaper than engraving. The other idea I have is, because we have 100 gold-plated ones, is that we can actually give a gold members medal out as well. With members who've had 50 years membership or more, we've given them the badge. It says gold member badge, but we can now also give them a medal which says A&S gold medal, their name, and either the year they joined or the 50th year from when they joined. You know, either one or the other. So that would be a sort of nice gesture. I looked at the records to see how many members would get it. Believe it or not, 15 of them would get it. we still have 15 members who've been a member for more than 50 odd years. Yeah, you know. Another, what are we? Another 5 years, and I'll join it. Another 7 years, Tony joins them, and yeah, and Matthew joins it, and quite a few others. So, in that late 60s, early 70s period, we had a lot of people who joined the society. So, yeah, so it's quite interesting that, you know, we still have 15 members who've been a member for 50 years or more. Yeah. Also onto the balance sheet, as you can see, where our balance sheet on the 30th of June was 57,201, and our balance sheet today is 57,986. So since June, we've added $784 to it, and in the year before, we've added 3,600. But that was mainly because we hadn't printed any journals or mailed out any journals for a fair while. And now that Judy very kindly is producing our journals in Canada in a PDF format that we can just give to the printers and print, makes it really good. And Judy does that sort of editorial work for a lot of other clubs and societies over there. And she was saying she was having trouble getting material from everyone but the ANS. She found more than enough material from us to keep going for a while, because of all our conferences and things. People write, you know, write articles. And I can't remember whether it was the last journal or the current journal that Judy says, when members join the society, they're always told, buy the book first, you know, get your knowledge, buy the book. But she says, it looks like the ANS motto is, join the society and write the book. That was quite good. Other than that, I'm happy to try and answer any questions anybody has.
Looks good. You're getting a pretty good interest rate from Westpac. How come?
Sorry, Morris,
No,
Sorry, I was just saying.
David.
Yeah.
Oh, David.
The interest rate's pretty good from a Westpac term deposit. Is that a carryover from something that
Yeah,
went on a few years ago?
in years past, I always rolled everything over for 5 years,
No.
and basically we had all our funds in term deposits in 5-year terms. And I was trying to spread it out so that we'd have probably evenly based, so you'd have 8,000, 10,000 and what next. And as the years came back, 5 years was still the best, so, you know, I'd sort of pegged it back a bit. But it went from getting 8% to 6% to 4% to 3%. I think the best one we have now is 2.5, and there's one for
That's
2.
good in the current
But
circumstances.
in the next 2 years, they're gone, and you know we'll get the 0.25 or 0.75 or whatever. But
I wouldn't
by then, perhaps they might come
I
back.
wouldn't invest it today at 5 years. I think you'd almost do it 6 monthly, because
Yeah, well,
interest rates have to go up. It's going to be a big shock to the system, to the financial
what
system.
we've done since the last couple of years is, as the term deposits have matured, we've put them in for 1 year. And we said, we'll just have them in for 1 year because the 1 year and the 5 year are the same.
Yeah.
You know, or they're 0.5% difference. It's, you know, you don't want to lock it up for, you know, 0.25 for 5 years. So just do it 1 year, and in a year's time we can decide what to do.
But our Reserve Bank's behind the 8 ball. Our Reserve Bank's behind the 8 ball.
Yeah,
He
well,
wants to sit on all this now for the next 10 years,
Yeah.
while the rest of the world doing the right thing.
they're
Might be able
all,
to carry on for a while.
anybody who invests in that, you know, interest paying things that's, you know, 1% or 0.5% or whatever, for long term, is going to lose money for sure. I mean, it's
Yeah.
great to have long terms when the interest rate's falling. When it's rising, that's terrible. And it will.
Maurice, you had a question.
Same question. Same question.
Same question. Okay. Well,
Yeah, so, you know,
got the answer?
Financially, we're doing okay. The idea is to try and cover the costs. And
That's good.
our basic cost is FILAS. I mean, we pay rent of $75 a month here. Plus, we have insurance as well. And with the affiliation, normal months that we meet here, etc., we're looking at about $1,000 that we give to FILAS for you know, having this location. But that's fine. We've got the $1,000. The $1,000 really comes from the profit on the auctions and the sale of the medals. That more or less covers that side of it. The membership fees, we charge everyone $40 a year. The Queensland we give 40%. So we give Queensland $16 of that 40, and we keep 26 there. And basically, every year for the last 5 years, we've made a profit. But really, the last 3 years, except for the medal, we really haven't given our members very much. So now that the journals are starting again, that'll be good. And basically, that's all I can tell you. As you can see from the statement of cash assets, that we have $51,000 in term deposits. But you know, that gives us next to nothing in interest anyway. Yeah, you're lucky to make a little over $1,000 in interest from 51, and it's dropping. So that's my report. Thank you.
Good. We're doing a motion. I'll move that we accept the Treasurer's report.
Yeah. And Tony seconds. Okay. Okay. I guess everyone, you put it to the vote? They're going to accept it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Thank you.
David is-
You don't accept it, you become treasurer.
Who's the guy with two hands?
All right, we'll close that AGM then and move on to general business. I suppose, yeah, you might think, well, why didn't I have a president's report ready? But then again, you like the fact that we haven't been here for quite a few months. Yeah, everything sort of tends to get pushed to the back, and you know, I was,
We were lucky we got the conference in there.
yeah,
Yeah, we will.
yeah, we were lucky. Yeah,
That was a close thing. You know,
yeah.
we finished on the 14th or so, and 26th we were in lockdown again.
All right, general business. Is there any general business anyone wants to bring up? The general business we have at the moment, that us, or you guys, or whatever you want to say, the ANS Sydney branch is to hold a conference on the 13th of June 2022 here at Philas House. Right now, the idea is that we're going to have it the 13th of June, which is a Saturday.
No, it's a Monday.
Monday?
Monday public holiday.
Monday
It's
public
the
holiday.
Queen's
Okay.
birthday Monday.
Right, a Monday public holiday from 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. So, you know, Rod will have the doors open at 9:30
Oh yeah,
as normal.
yeah. I'm sure we can get here before 9 o'clock and open everything up and get ready.
Okay. Now, the conference is free to members and visitors. The members are to bring their own lunch, because we're not going to be catering for it, you know, it being a public holiday, and I suppose if you need a hot lunch, well then there's a kitchen out there that you're going to have to fend for yourself. Okay, so then Rod's already formulated a program on the website, so if you're sort of thinking about what we're going to be doing on that particular day, have a look on the website under
I've already
the
got three
conference.
talks. Ron Bolden. I've got Colin down as the first speaker. I'm trying to go from ancient to modern. Try and get it in that sequence. So Colin said he'll give a talk, and so he'll be talking on ancients. Ron Bolden said yes, he'll come from up there and give a talk, and his talk is going to be from the Darrick to the Deluge. So he does biblical, so it's going to be numismatic from the Darrick to the Deluge.
That means absolutely nothing to me, but that's probably why I'll be there to
I think
to
he
learn
said
all about it.
deluge, it's rain will get me, so yeah.
To Noah's Ark, you know.
Something like that.
Okay.
And
I've got a
also
nice little silver coin with
John
Noah-
Kennedy
Noah.
is coming down from Tuncurry, and he's giving a talk on modern Irish coins. So I've slotted him. And Barry Short, who came to one of the earlier ones, he's giving a talk, I forget the gentleman's name, but on a certain gentleman and his medal and there.
Okay.
Barry gave a talk at Coffs Harbour, but not this last conference, the one before. Not Barry, Bruce Short.
Good.
John, there's one thing I'd like to sort of just throw into the net here for us to sort of chew over and think about. I was looking at a sort of report on the internet this afternoon to do with sort of finances to some extent. And one of the things that came out and shocked me was that the hackers have cost industry $65 billion this year. And they sort of reckon that in 10 years' time, in 30, it'll be 265 billion. We're paying for that in big ways. There were two things. One, a fairly well-to-do school in the US, the hackers got hold of them and threatened them with reporting all the sort of bits and pieces that they'd hacked from their computer and the like, and they wanted $5 million, and the school coughed up because they didn't want the information that had been got and get out, because it's, you know, it's personal, dealing with students and parents and teachers and all that sort of stuff, so they didn't want all that getting out. And there was another company over there which is a large one involved with pipeline. It's like our APA here, and they threatened them with printing, you know, the monies they've been making, and also the plans that they've got for the future, which of course every company wants to, all the competitors to know that, and they had to cough up $200 million. Wow. That's what's going on and increasing. I thought I'd throw those little figures so you can think about it. Where are we going? And what can we do about it?
In a lot of situations, you know, especially on the internet, you know, you say to yourself, if I had a web presence, which I'm working on at the moment, why would they try and hack into me? Why would they try and, you know, extort money out of me? You know, and that's why people don't really take adequate precautions on the internet to safeguard against that. Right? Yeah, there are ways of stopping people from getting into your systems, but unfortunately, bigger companies, they think that they've got it all under control, but you know, every day the hackers find some new way of getting into the system. Right? It's like everything. Like, it's a good example of that. While I'm building up my web page, I keep looking at other people's web pages and say, oh, I like the way they do that. So then I basically find out how to do it and then do it on my web page. So that's the sort of thing that happens all the time on the internet. And as soon as they find a vulnerability, the hackers go for it. Yeah, of course.
Well, they know the big companies, they're all vulnerable to those sorts of things, and profit and losses, and of course what they're planning for the future, which is great, isn't it, for the competitors to know that, you know, that Volkswagen's going to do this, you know, and one of the other company's going to do something else, and of course all the companies want that to be brought out. So when they've been hacked and sort of blackmailed, they want to get rid of it. But see, what's to stop them blackmailing again?
Well, the new the company puts more funds into the IT budget to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Well, that's why it's going to jump up to 265 billion in 10 years. So the problem is there.
Did anyone else hear that news report about circulating banknotes in Australia? There's something like, I think they said 20 billion banknotes, worth of banknotes in general circulation, and they can track that. But there's another 80 billion worth of banknotes not circulating but have been issued. I could imagine a proportion of that is within the collector's market. But,
Well, Rod's got a big ego there.
but
Yeah, Rod's got 1% of that.
there's
Yeah,
so
well,
much,
I've only got 10 billion of it.
there's
I wish.
so much banknotes that have been issued that they are saying people are hoarding banknotes for some reason. I don't know how many spare wallets everyone has, or how big their hole in the backyard is.
Look, maybe it's just a situation where, like, there are countries around the world that when they have a new issue of banknotes, which, you know, they've changed the way they have their banknotes with, you know, better security features and everything else.
They
And
are
it's-
talking about Australian banknotes.
Yeah, but on my example, there are countries around the world, well, as soon as they issue the new banknotes, they demonetise the old ones. And that's what Australia hasn't done. Because you can still get the old paper notes and you can still go and buy things with them. You can still cash them into the bank. But once the bank gets the old paper notes, yes, they shred them. And they make something, I think they make wheelie bins and plastic stuff all over, you know, they make something with it anyway. But they will shred them, they won't put them back into circulation. Now,
Most of the bank tellers keep them now. They're smart enough to know they're worth more than face.
yeah, but look, I was at a coin fair on Saturday at Gymea. It's the first one that we've had since I don't know, April, I think.
Since
And-
COVID.
And we got a new person who's selling there. He came along and took a table, and what he was doing is that, yeah, somebody would buy something, and he would give them change of paper money, you know, paper $5 notes, paper $2 notes, and everything else. And, you know, they sort of looked at it and said, well, it's still legal tender. But he was doing that. Right now, you know, it sort of makes it difficult for the person that sort of ended up with that paper money, because if they went down and bought a coffee, they probably wouldn't. You know,
She'll try and take it, I've tried it myself.
the person at the coffee shop wouldn't take it because, you know, they can't identify the paper money.
Wouldn't they go over and sell it to you?
Yeah, they did. That's what I'm complaining about. I ended up with all these $5 notes.
So you're saying you can take the paper money to the local bank and they will say?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
they're
Yeah,
bank-
they're still legal tender,
Yeah.
right? So you can take your paper money into the bank, and they, you know, and they generally want you to deposit it into a bank account. They won't just give you,
Yeah.
they just won't hand over the change.
The
But,
bank of the last resort is the Reserve Bank.
yeah.
No, just I've got a couple of friends that's given me stuff to get rid of, sort of thing, and that's the first thing I thought, well, now, how do I get rid of all this paper stuff without taking it to the Reserve Bank?
No, you go to the local bank, they'll do it. I
Yeah.
just did it
Look,
last week.
you're
Yeah.
better off going to the Commonwealth
Yeah,
Bank
but
rather than any other bank.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
Peter,
they have to take
John
it.
and myself, we'll buy it off you.
Yeah, face value,
The old paper stuff?
the old paper money.
They're always looking for the star, make sure there's no little star.
No, sorry, I'm talking the $1 and $2.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I've got a lot of them. But,
So what are you paying for $1?
a
$2?
dollar.
Depends on the signatures. Literally, you have a Coombs Randall signature, we'll give you a bit more.
Who would recognise that as a $5 note?
Mm.
Yeah, but that has to be in nice condition, because there's still
No,
plenty
no,
of
but
them.
what Maurice is saying is that if you took that to a petrol, like a petrol station or something, to try and buy petrol with that note, they'd say, well, it's the wrong thing, because they've never seen Henry Parts on the note.
Yeah.
Depending on the age of the person standing behind the counter. So
Yeah,
maybe you will look at it and go,
Yeah.
well, a lot of them these days, they only have the
I,
MasterCards and Visa cards, isn't it?
that's
I was standing,
Sorry, just going back, 'cause a couple of years ago when we had at the town hall, I took some to the Downies guy, and he said, you know, go away.
yeah, because he would have to then take them to the bank, so why not just send you to the bank?
Yeah.
Right? But I was standing in line one day to pay for some petrol, and the guy in front of me was going to pay for his petrol with two $10 notes, the 1988 bicentenary
Oh, yeah.
notes. They were, you know, the brown ones. And the happy little person behind the counter said, no, says they've got to be blue.
Yeah.
And that's all he knew, you know.
Yeah.
$10 are going to be blue.
Yeah.
And these things were brown. So I gave the guy $20 and he paid for his petrol, and I had the two brown ones.
But they're still not worth much more, are they?
And those
Even the ones with the date on it.
those 88 ones, they
Let us not
they
talk
crease
about,
really early.
let's not talk about a cheque nowadays, because I believe the NAB doesn't issue chequebooks any longer.
Really. Mm.
where's
Yeah, well, I
the
haven't
picture
used
of
a cheque
that?
for a long time. Listen, getting back to the conference that we are planning on the 13th of June 2022 here at Villass House. As I said, the program is on the website, and the talks will be shown as members registered them 3 times, 3 titles so far. Rod actually explained to you the 3 people that have already done it. So now, because it's only a one-day event, how many talks do you plan on allowing?
10.
10.
There's 10 talks.
Okay, so 10 talks. So
There's only 45 minutes for lunch.
Yeah. Is there a nice coffee shop around here? So I know.
Oh yeah, there's a couple just up the road.
Tony makes nice coffee in the corner here.
Or bring your own.
Bring your own.
Right, I'll put a
Yeah,
sign on
photos.
that there too.
All right, so yeah, so
50p.
total of 10 titles. So if you have something that you'd like to talk about, it's a sort of a 25-minute talk.
Yeah. Please
5
let me
minutes
know.
for questions. So 30 minutes, a 30-minute talk basically. And we need 10 of them. We've got 3 so far. All right. Is there any other general business? Bit of general business. I got hold of these things the other day. It's a new album that you can put all your coloured $2 coins in.
Oh, right.
Right? So that's sort of, they've just hit the market. There's these albums. So if you're interested in looking after your coloured coins, they give you a list of all the different coins that you have to collect, so that you can see which ones you're missing, and then you go out and find the correct ones.
I'll just put
They have the
it
regular ones as well. From
as far as I know, the only
From
only
88
regular,
onwards.
the only regular one is the very first one, 1984, which goes in the front, you know,
Right.
and then all the rest of them are basically the coloured ones. So yeah, they have a couple of spots here for extras, but yeah, unfortunately the last one that you have to get is Wags the Dog from the Wiggles in 2021. So, but knowing the Royal Australia Mint, they probably have some new ones coming out very
Yeah,
soon.
well, there's the 2022 frontline workers apparently already out.
Yeah. So yeah, so from what I can understand, the person creating these things will probably wait a couple of years and then create a second volume. For
So
those.
where did you get them?
I bought them off the guy at the coin fair. I
Oh.
bought them for $30 each. If you want some, I've got 3 of them here. They're $30 each.
I just put it all in 2v2s.
Yeah, well, that's what I used to do. But yeah, these are probably good for the younger kids, because like if you get a coloured coin and change, you can put them in, and if all of a sudden you get a better one, instead of destroying the 2x2, you can just click the one out and put a better coin in. So that's one of the advantages of this. It's working on the same principle as the Australia Post A to Z coins, where if you get a better
dollar.
one that
Or the alphabets. Yeah.
on the alphabet, you can take the one out and put a better one in. So that's basically. But have a look at them if you're interested. They're $30.
Oh,
The other thing, tomorrow the memorial service for Rudy Talmax is on tomorrow, the 14th, which is tomorrow, 12 o'clock at the new theatre at Newtown. So if anyone plans on going, I'll be there representing the ANS. And so if anyone else wants to go along, well, 12 o'clock at the new theatre. I think the best, if you're going to go by train, the best way to do it is to get off at St Peter's, not Newtown. Because
Aren't they having a strike tomorrow?
it's only a couple of blocks up from St Peter's station.
We'll be able to get a train tomorrow.
Eh?
Aren't they having another stop work
Are
tomorrow?
they? Oh. Oh. So, but that's on tomorrow as well. Anything else that we need to report? No? Yes.
Bit of news. I received an email from Spink a couple of days ago. Only got an auction on just in the new year. One coin only in the auction. They've discovered by metal detector a new Henry III gold penny. It's the 8th known, and probably I'm sure none of us will be able to buy it, will want to buy it. But it's just interesting to know how much it goes for. Very historic. The first sort of modern gold coin ever minted in England, and there's 8 known. I'm sure they will have a rule you can't take it out of Britain. It'll have to stay there, but that still doesn't affect many buyers. I mean, they're American owners of Henry VIII gold pennies, and they lend them out to the British museums and so on, but it's theirs. So yes, it's interesting that they find these things, still finding them with the metal detector. Of course, metal detecting in England is very popular. They always seem to be buying not only English coins, but Roman gold and everything they've found over the last few years. It's really a hobby that a lot of people do. But,
It was when the coin's buried for a long time. The fact that it's gold, it doesn't really.
It looks in beautiful condition. They sent with the email. They sent a picture of it, and the flan is a little bit non-round, a little bit kicky, but otherwise it's a beautiful coin, and the design is and the strike is wonderful. So
What's the estimate? What's the estimate?
they didn't give me an estimate, but you know, it wouldn't be less than £500,000.
Yeah.
It'd be around, and I'd be surprised if it went for less than $1 million actually. But yeah,
Okay.
that's what they were. Very rare,
So
very historic.
So why are they only doing just that one coin in the auction?
That's enough, I reckon.
I reckon that's enough.
They'll make
I
enough
reckon it's
profit
gonna
just
be
with one coin.
That's
that
right.
many bidders there that are going to sort of.
It'll be, yeah, well, it'll be, you know, it'll be interesting to see whether there's actually a public auction or whether it's just by tender. It could be, but
Yeah.
normally it's not, because they like to make it public. And of course, if there's two people wanting a coin like that and they've got very deep pockets, as many have in Europe and America, it'll get its value.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Well, if there's no other general business, we're going to invite the members now with the displays, and there's three members to give a brief 2-minute talk on what they've brought along, so that the other members, before they vote for whichever display, they can have a better idea as to what they're voting for. So, who's number one?
I don't know, which is number one.
I think it's you,
I think
David.
it's me, yeah.
It's a gold coin, it must be David's.
Well, what I'd like to do is just half a dozen coins. I left them all in plastic because I thought you might want to be able to pick them up and see the other side without. But what I think would be nicer for me if I just. Shall I show you on the picture? No, we haven't got the
We
slide.
don't have the picture, but you want to...
Oh, you want it over there just the same?
it'd be nice for
They
the
won't be able
people.
to see it.
Yeah, well,
We can leave it on the trays and
Oh,
then...
all right. Well, would it be all right to leave them in the plastic then, you reckon, or take them out? Nicer taking them out, but...
Yeah, we take them out and then we can put them back in.
Yeah, okay, because you can do both sides. All right. I'm sorry, you'll have to bear with me then. You can't actually see what I'm showing you, but I'll tell you what they are. The first one's a restrike of a gold 4 ducat piece of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. It's dated 1915, which is the year the Emperor Franz Joseph died. And of course in 1915 World War I was well underway. So even though it was dated 1915, because that was the last year of his life, it shows a young portrait of him, like 50 years earlier, and but it would have been struck after the war as a bullion coin. Beautifully struck, mirror finish, virtually a proof coin. And on the one side is the youngish Franz Joseph, the Emperor of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. And on the other side, if we just do that, on the other side is a lovely imperial double-headed eagle of Austria with a crown and a shield. And that represented the standard, well, 4 ducat. It was a very thin coin. 4 ducats was a reasonable amount of money, but you know, thin coin. It was not for circulation. It was just for collectors and people who wanted bullion gold. One of the interesting historical things, as you know, is that the World War I killed gold. I mean, since then, after they tried to resurrect it, weren't successful. There was the whole depression that followed from it, and all the hyperinflation in Germany, a whole lot of bad things. And eventually, they discarded gold. They discarded it from the circulating coinage. They basically robbed the people of owning valuable money. They thought it was too important for the governments to have it and print it whenever they felt like, instead of people having something to preserve their savings. And the Weimar Republic hyperinflation showed you what happens when they don't do that. And we're doing it now, right now. Everybody's sort of, you know, all this sort of creating and printing money to fund government deficits just causes inflation and essentially robs everybody of their savings. But anyway, that's a private thing. All right, that's the one. It is a lovely object to have. Now, one of the things that lockdown has done, of course, and if you're a bit like me, you'll have watched a lot of movies at home on the rainy days and, you know, during the middle of the day and things like that. And if you watch SBS, they've had the Sissy movies. Who knows about Sissy? Did you watch any of those? Judy does. Okay, they're lovely movies. They're made in the German thing. They're made in Germany, I think, or Austria. And the dialogue is German, but with English subtitles, so you can enjoy them. And they're costume drama. Now, let me tell you who Sissy was. Sissy was the nickname of the Grand Duchess of Bavaria, Elizabeth, so abbreviation of Elizabeth,
yeah,
who was the wife of Franz Joseph. Okay, and there was a love match when Franz Joseph wooed her and married her. She was only 16 and he was only 23, so that's about 7 years between them, and they had a lovely happy life in the young years. So they made a movie about this, and there's 3, it's a trilogy. The young Sissy, during this time of courting and so on, the Sissy which was the middle years when she had her children, and then the later years when she and Franz Joseph got a bit estranged, and she became like a wanderer around Europe, Spain, Madeira, Corfu. She had a house in Greece and all of that, and unfortunately there was a big tragedy in their life. So there's another movie I need to tell you about too. Oh no, well let's do the coin first. Here's a coin of Sissy and her husband in 1854. They married in 1854, and it's got the Dewgate portrait of Franz Joseph and Elizabeth together. It's a 1 gulden piece. 1 gulden. That was in those days, 1854, there was the currency of Austria. 1 gulden, 60 kreuzers to the 1 gulden, and it was about, a gulden I think was about 2/3 of a thaler. So they still have the thaler system there. And on the reverse, there's the Archbishop of Vienna with the 2 kneeling before him while he's marrying them. So that was that. And a lovely coin. It's got an inscription on the edge which I forgot to read, so we'll pass on that. The next coin, 25 years later, silver wedding anniversary. The next time Sissy appears on a coin, this time it's a 2 gulden piece. And it's much bigger. And you can see Franz Joseph has now got his characteristic whiskers. You can't see it here, but you will. In the early one, he's just clean shaven. And here we got the characteristic whiskers of it. So that's 1854, 25, that's 1869. Yeah. 1879, sorry, 1879. It's got the date on it, but in Roman numerals. Over the other side, I'm not sure what that is, a representation of some figure. Anyway, by this time, you know, the children had grown up. Now, Sissy, between the four of them, between the two of them, they had 4 children, 3 girls and a boy. The boy, Crown Prince Rudolph. Anyone see the movie Mailing? Another movie, Mailing. Did that ring any bells? Mailing? Mailing is the name of a hunting lodge outside of Vienna, which is owned by the imperial family, and they used it, you know, basically when they went out and enjoyed themselves. Crown Prince Rudolph was a bit of an odd one. Now, in his early years, there was an arranged marriage for him. He married a princess of Belgium. So basically, a relative of Queen Victoria, this Princess of Belgium. He married her, and initially, they had 1 child, but after that, they got completely estranged from one another. And so he was a married man, but he took a mistress from one of the lesser nobility of the Viennese nobility. Vatsaras, her name was. I think it was Anna. And anyway, he was madly in love with her. But she can see that all the powers that be were against him. So the upshot of it was he took her to this hunting lodge in 10 years after this last coin, in 1889, and killed her and killed himself at the same time. Murder-suicide. That was the story of Europe at that time, the Crown Prince. See, you may have wondered why the guy who was assassinated in Sarajevo to start World War I wasn't the son of Franz Joseph. This is why. The only son killed himself. And Sissy was heartbroken. She never wore anything else but black from then on. And she only lived another 9 years after that. And she herself, wandering along the wharf in Geneva to catch a ferry across the other side, with a lady in waiting, but no protection really, an Italian anarchist came up and stabbed her to death. So that was the end of Sissy. At that point too, the Austro-Hungarian changed currency. The Austro-Hungarian Empire was split into 2. Right, there was the Austrian West and the Hungarian and Slavic East, and they changed to the whole Europe changed to the gold standard at that point. And I have a lovely Hungarian 20 Corona piece outside the gulden system. The equivalent to the gulden was the florin, or forint in Hungarian. And this is the Franz Joseph as the King of Hungary. And not only that, the King of the Crown of St. Stephen. St. Stephen was one of the first Hungarian kings who turned to Christianity, and his crown was held in Budapest, and that's what the kings of Hungary were crowned with. But Hungary in the medieval period included, and it did then too, Croatia, Slovenia, Slovakia, all the Slav lands of the Eastern Europe that were Catholic. Okay? And it didn't include Bosnia, of course. And the guy who got assassinated was in fact Franz Joseph's nephew, not his son, because his son had committed suicide earlier. So anyway, that's just we're fitting in a few things. But this last coin is a very nice coin, a bullion coin really. You can get them cheaply. Only paid for it, the price of gold for it really. There are lots of them around. But it shows Franz Joseph standing, and you get up to 100 Corona on these, which are nice bigger coins, but more valuable. They're purchased from the gold value. Shows Franz Joseph standing. Is quite elderly in there. He's got the big mutton chop whiskers, you know, that he had, and he's got the crown of St. Stephen. He's wearing that, and on the reverse it shows a lovely shield with the crown of St Stephen, which is a round one without any sort of bit sticking out much, and the shields of Croatia and Dalmatia and all the Slavic lands and Hungary too are in the big combined shield around, and it's been supported by two angels. That's a lovely design. I love it. Okay, there's that one. Now that's for Austria. I should say too, going back to the film, a mailing, or an all-star cast. Omar Sharif played the moody Rudolph. James Mason played Franz Joseph. Sissy, Elizabeth, the mother of Rudolph, was played by Ava Gardner. And so it goes back a bit. It's in 1967, I think it was. And James Robertson Justice was in it too, playing the Prince of Wales, who happened to be in the Viennese court. I don't know if it's true or not, but for the movie, he was in the Viennese court while all this was happening as a friend of Rudolph's. So that was the future Edward III, Edward VII at that point. Yeah, it's a lovely movie. Watch it if you see it. Good one. Okay, last two coins. Sorry, the quick ones. This is more quite interesting. This goes back before then. Everyone know what the VOC is? Heard of it?
Dutch East Indies.
VOC, the Dutch East India Company. V for the word for United East India Company. Interestingly, when this was formed, there was originally a whole lot of companies competing against one another to get some of the goods from the East Indies that the Portuguese route had opened up. And the Dutch government, at that point, the government of the United Provinces, suggested, why don't you have a united kingdom? And well, united, don't compete with one another, but you've got to compete with Britain and all the other people that want a share of the spoils. And that's the United East India Company. The V for Varinta, you say it, John? Remember? Varinta? Well, I think it's Varinta. It means united. They use the same for United States, the same word. Anyway, united. Now, they've got a very powerful. They dominated the whole East India trade. Britain tried to get in, couldn't. It lasted right up to the very last day of the 18th century. As soon as the 19th century ticked over, the Dutch government, they fell into arrears of debt, they owed too much and they were going to fold up, and the Dutch government sort of rescued them. But anyway, at their heyday they had the right to mint coins, not only in the Dutch East Indies, there are plenty of them there, but in Holland itself, in the United Provinces. And I say that because the first coin I have is just an ordinary Dutch guilder of 1790, I think it is, or 1791, minted from the province of Utrecht. It's a lovely coin, quite sharp condition. The typical persona on the front of Liberty, and on the reverse is the shield of the United Provinces and one guilder. Okay, and that was it. Now the other coin, which is quite a recent acquisition actually, is the same thing but for West Friesland, which is a bit north of Utrecht, and but this one has the cartouche of the VOC. Now this one was minted in Holland by the VOC, and there must have been in cahoots where the mint itself had permission to do it, because not only have they got the same obverse as the Utrecht coin, apart from this saying it got from Westland, but on the reverse, and this is the important one, they've got the VOC. Now it's always written V with an O on the cutting one V and the C cutting the other arm of the V, and you'll see that there, and that's quite scarce, quite hard to get. I remember.
Actually, I've got one of them, haven't I? Somewhere. I'm sure I've got a coin of VOC on them. I think.
Yeah, well, you could have. I mean, they're not that scarce. You could have. Anybody else got a Dutch guilder? Let's go home and check if it's got one of those on.
Yeah.
They are more valuable than the ones without.
And the Proclamation series, aren't they?
It is. They're both proclamation coins to that extent. Anyone collect Dutch coins? Okay. All right. There you go. All right. I'll put them back in the thing envelopes. And next person who want to talk, just get organised.
David, just one little question I'd like to ask. What really caused the demise of the Austro-Hungarian Empire?
World War One.
Oh, was it?
World War One.
Just pure and simply that.
Apart from the fact that Franz Joseph dead, so World War One, because they, yeah.
I heard there was another incident for the collapse of the empire. They tried to make it a modern empire
Yes.
by building railways. And the cost of the railways was so expensive that it bankrupted them.
Yeah. I remember in my youth, way back, whenever I collected stamps in, and whenever I got a packet of stamps from them, they'd always have these stamps of the various Slavic states that have just been freed. You know, the one of Czechoslovakia was always this kneeling personage with chains hanging on their broken chains. They've now been freed, and it was only after those countries were familiar with, like Czechoslovakia and Slovenia and those. They were all part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. But the theory is, and this is, I read up a little bit on this, the heir to the throne, with his wife, went to Sarajevo in Bosnia on a sort of goodwill mission, and Serbian anarchists, terrorists we'd probably call them today, came and shot them. They died in their carriage. And the Austro-Hungarian Empire took offence. You've got to understand, of course, that the Slavic world is divided into west part, Roman Catholics, east part, or Greek Orthodox. And they use different scripts. You know, the Latin alphabet for Austria and Hungary, and the Cyrillic alphabet. And anyway, Austria launched a war, started to fight Serbia, accused it of plotting against them. And that the Russians then took the Serbian part, and they started fighting Austria. The Germans then saw the Austrians under attack, and they started fighting the rest, and eventually World War One. All these alliances.
And they didn't have to wait too long after World War II for Stalin to take them all back.
Yeah. Yes. Well, you're right. It's been going on, but I mean, our understanding, I've been thinking, so generally here, of World War One is Gallipoli and the Western Front. There was a huge Eastern Front going on while all this was going on. And that was Austria fighting the Russians and Germans fighting the Russians and the Italian wars and everything. There's a lot more to World War One than just what we learn at school. But yes, it's... anyway, Austria did survive a little bit after that, but then the Austrian Republic was formed very early, and of course, unfortunately, that didn't last too long. When Hitler came along, he took over Austria with the Anschluss and the beginning of Second World War, and it was only after that finished that the Austrians finally had to heave a sigh of relief and get on with being Austria. So, yeah, but all that part you know.
Thanks, David, for that brief 2-minute talk.
Yep, sorry about taking so long, but I'll just put all the stuff away and then carry on.
That problem with the Second World War was because Eisenhower stood back for 3
Who's,
weeks and let the Russians get into Berlin. And politics from Washington
I'm going to put you on the
against
back.
what Churchill
I'm
was.
going to put you on the back of that room soon, Tony.
The Russians
Marty.
went up to Berlin, and they took Berlin. The Americans came down and took and finally found salt mines where all the treasures from all the churches and the museums were stored. If the Russians had come the way they were supposed to go and find the salt mines with the treasures, all of that would have been lost.
Yes, quite. I think that he stood back for 3 weeks and didn't take it. Otherwise, the Americans would have a lot.
Thanks, David.
Thanks for that 2-minute talk.
All right, we're going to now listen to the second display.
I'll shut up now.
Nothing to compare.
Oh, I don't know.
The coloured $2 coins. It's pity we haven't got the screen, but I'm sure you're all familiar with them or have seen them, but although it's surprising how many people haven't seen or been aware of them when I ask if anyone has got them. But I followed the Renix catalogue to set up the display itself, and the first two are simply effigies of the Queen. The first one's from 88 to 98, and 98 onward sort of thing. And they have the reverse, which shows, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it, Goiwa Jungagari. He was also known as 1 Pound Jimmy. He's a Northern Territory Aboriginal, and he was the first Aboriginal to appear on an Australian postage stamp. But didn't say what year or when that was, so Rod might have some idea about that. Would you have any idea when he first appeared on the Australian stamp?
Uh,
I think
it was quite early
I think
on.
it was a
Yeah, I
5
think
shilling
it was.
stamp.
Yeah, I thought it was pre-decimal.
Yeah, it was 5 shillings, I think it was.
They had a
Yeah.
2 and 6pence one, and they had a 8pence, 8 and a halfpenny one or something like that with the
Yeah.
Something like that,
original
yeah.
face on it.
But anyhow, then the next two are actually silver, commemorating the Australian Open Tennis Championships for 2012. The next one is the 60th anniversary of the coronation of the Queen. The next one is the coloured
poppy.
poppy one, which is not, well, you've got to buy them. Nobody's going to seem to have them in
Actually,
change.
that was the 60th anniversary.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, sorry.
that was just the Remembrance
Yeah,
Remembrance
sorry,
Day with the poppy.
Out of order there. So there's several of them listed as Lest We Forget and Remembrance. I don't see why, because to me it's the same thing. So
Yeah, but the Lest We Forgets come out on Anzac Day,
Yeah.
and the Remembrance ones come out in November.
Oh, in the November one, yeah, okay.
It's
I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, no, so they put out 2 a year.
Yeah, I must admit I hadn't thought of that. Then we move on to the 2016 is a 50-year commemoration of the decimal currency, which shows the old, well, it's a crown and what have you, but it goes back to when we did have the decimal, before the decimal, sorry. Then there's a row of the various colours of the Olympic rings. Then again, followed that by one for the Para-Olympic team of 2016. And we're going to Remembrance, Lest We Forget again. I don't understand why, but we go into possum magic, which I don't know why, but you know, I think we do commemorate some funny things, I think, myself.
Possum Magic was a Woolworths distribution, and they got permission from the Mint to produce those coins and to give them as change.
Yeah.
Now, if you go to the website, Royal Australian Mint website, they're not listed
No.
as being produced. You have to go into their annual reports and it says they produced it. Just like the coins that they made for News Limited.
Yeah.
They had some coins that you when you bought the Telegraph and what next to you, you got the first one free and then you had to pay $3 for all the other ones. Those aren't listed as being produced there. So even though technically they can be used, these ones can be used because Woolworths gave them out as change. It's just a promotion.
Well, out of that said, I'm missing Invisible. You know, I got no idea what this possum magic's about, so I didn't.
It's a children's book.
Yeah, I'd say there's a bit of a children one. Followed again by Lest We Forget. Then in 2018, there's the Invicta Games.
There.
In there. Then I'm missing the. There's another one with the Aboriginal on it, but it also has the Melbourne and Sydney Privy Marks, which again I'm missing.
And you also have the big set of 2018 $2 coins that came out. There was a big set of them that came out.
Yeah, I'm missing that one. But then still in 2018, we got the Armistice, commemorating the 100 years of Armistice. Then there's again another one that's, well, children of I suppose you say, is the Mr. Squiggle. There's 4 of them. Then I got the Wallabies tour, but it doesn't say what tour, or what, whether it's Australian or actually a tour or not, but it's commemorating the Wallabies. Then we got 100 years of federation in 2019, which I think is a bit out there. And it's still in 2019 is the police remembrance.
Which is there.
And in 2020, there's this 75 years since the end of World War II.
It's that one there, yeah.
Which also, sorry, I shouldn't say all that, but next is the 2020 Women's T20 cricket. Also in 2020 is the Olympic team. There's only two of them. One's titled Resilience, and the other one is Courage. Followed by the Para-Olympic team, and their motto was Set to Soar. And still in 2020 we've got commemorating the firefighters, which basically is the,
yeah.
I would say, mainly rural fire brigade. Then I'm not sure where Wags the dog comes in. I think
the
it's
most recent one.
obviously another
There's also
children's
the ambulance, there's the ambulance one that's come out recently too.
Sorry?
It's a Wiggles.
Another Wiggles one, is it? Yeah,
It
I'm
was
sorry,
only a
Joel, I
couple-
missed
it
that,
was a
Joel.
month or so ago.
Also included is Dorothy the dinosaur and Captain Feathersword of her.
The Wiggles.
Yeah, you've
Then
got
the-
Henry the octopus.
The very latest one that I've got is
The ambulance,
2021, which is commemorating the ambulance service. Then that's what is in Rennick's catalogue, but then when you go online, and there's a couple there that is not in Rennick's. So for 2017, there's the Vegemite sandwich. So, as I say, we commemorate some weird things.
Yeah, but that one wasn't a circulating coin, whereas most of these were circulating,
Yeah.
whereas a lot of them are non-circulating.
Yeah.
You know, they're
Well,
just
I'd
ones
say
that
something
they
like
put
that.
out.
But, same as 2019, there's Bill Steam Shovel. I'm not sure with it.
Yeah, that's Mr. Squiggle.
That's another squiggle, is it? Well, as I say, so I've had a missing childhood. Then,
Yeah, that's the purple wiggle.
yeah,
So-
okay. Then 2020 is the Tokyo Olympics. There's two there. One was passion and one's dedication. The other one I haven't got is in 2021 is the Indigenous Service. That's the Indigenous Army or military service. And one that obviously it is out because it's listed as the 2022 Frontline Workers. Commemorating them. That's mine.
That one, the very first one, the 2013, for the 60th anniversary of the Queen,
Yeah.
that's a hard $2 to get now.
Is it?
When they first came out in 2013, 2013 was important to the ANS because it was our centenary.
Centenary, yeah.
And I had Bruce encase some $2 coins. And then this one came out, the one with the purple ring for the 2013. So it was really hard to get them. And then the Royal Australian Mint had one of their pop-up shops in Brisbane. And I read about it online, and I emailed all our Brisbane members saying, hey, if you go down to the Roma bus stop or whatever it is there in Roma Street, there's a pop-up shop coming, and you can get these coins. And I remember saying, and don't forget your friends. And that was just before our conference. And at our conference, I can remember it now, Cole Thomas came in and said, oh, I got thanks for that info. I went down there and I got all these coins there. And I said, oh, do you want to sell me some? Because I want to encase them for the ANS. So I bought a dozen of them or so off him. I paid him $5 each for them and gave them to Bruce and say, okay, encase these and we'll sell them to the members for $25. It's $5 for that, $15 for your processing, and $5 profit for the society. So we did that, and as a result, we encased about 20 of those. Now, today, if you look online, that coin there in unk condition sells for $70 upwards.
Well, I think I've got another one.
It's a real tough one. Yeah.
There's several of them. I have got numerous ones of them, but The missing ones, as they're the ones that the red poppy one. Apparently that's quite.
I've got a few that you're missing, so
Okay, well,
Of the-
I'll have to do a deal.
yeah, we'll have to do some swaps.
What about those ones that are not supposed to be circulated? Do they get circulated?
Which
You
one?
said there were some that aren't circulating coins.
No, that
Yeah.
that Frank was mentioning there.
Yeah.
These are all circulating coins,
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
but you can
The
also
ones I haven't got.
you can also buy them. Every one of these that's circulated. The Mint also put out a similar one with a C Mint mark in a pack. So it was a Canberra Mint mark as against just the ordinary one that went into circulation. And those C Mint mark ones, especially for the Anzac and Remembrance ones, they're asking ridiculous prices for them. I mean ridiculous. They're $300, $400. In 2018, the Mint actually produced a set of these that they had produced. I think there were 20 coins in the set, but they were all dated 2018, not the year that was on these. And they put out that set of that. And I didn't buy the set because it was $75, and I was thinking, oh, come on, you've got $20 worth of coins in there, and you're asking $75. So I said,
Yeah, well, those ones
no
just
way.
by chance, I got a couple in China or whatever. So
Yeah, yeah, oh, yeah.
but
They're
I've
selling
been-
for $750 if you can find it.
Well, I've been pretty lucky. I've got quite a few of them just from the local chemist shop. So there's somebody in our area who obviously had them because
Oh,
I ended
yeah.
up with the
They're around.
ambulance service, but I think I got 8 in one hit. So must be somebody local in our area that's had them and just
You
gets...
need, you need a book to keep track of them.
Excuse me. I'm getting these for $2. I'm getting these for $2 for $2.
Thanks, Ray.
We'll put this one back. Number 2. Thank you. Better boil the kettle, eh?
Yeah, okay, Carl.
Okay, the theme for my display is Heroes of the Sky. Now, it's mainly because Heroes of the Sky is all
Would you like to bring it over here and speak closer to the camera so everyone can hear you? Yeah, I'm being pushy, sorry.
That's all right.
Hey, you can bring the whole lot. Oh,
Nice one. Now, the Royal Australian Mint created Heroes of the Sky mainly because the Royal Australian Air Force celebrates their 100th anniversary this year, 2021. So what ended up happening is that come January 1, 2021, they put new dies in the Mint Your Own machines at the Royal Australian Mint. 2 machines, one at the front, one at the back. And the theme this particular year was Heroes of the Sky. Right, so you say, well, what's it all about? The coin that they produced, these particular cards are coming in straight out of the Mint Your Own coin presses in Canberra. Now, they selected 5 people, if you want to call them that, 5 notable Royal Australian Air Force people to feature in their cards. The Mint Your Own machines, they love to have at least 5 coins in the set so that they can get 5 times the amount of money out of you when you want to put the money in. So what ended up happening is that they started out with whichever one you wanted to go by, but the Heroes of the Sky, this particular lady, she was Wing Officer Doris Carter. Doris Carter was the first female athlete to represent Australia in an Olympics field event in 1936. During the Second World War, she served in the Women's Auxiliary Australian Air Force. In 1951, Doris became the director of the newly established Women's Royal Australian Air Force, a position she held for 9 years. Right, so that's the reason why she was featured on that particular card. Mind you, each one of these coins are exactly the same. right? They have got a little cement mark on it so that it indicates that they were produced in Canberra. So that's the first one. Right. The second one that they, the second one that I've got here is Pilot Officer Rawdon Hugh Middleton, BC. Now, Pilot Officer Rawdon Hugh Middleton was posthumously awarded the RWS First Victoria Cross of the Second World War. He was severely wounded when a shell exploded during an operation in Italy, but managed to fly back to England, saving 5 crew members' lives. He perished when his aircraft crashed in the English Channel. So again, this, the fact that he was a recipient of the VC because of what he had done, saving his crew members, they featured him on the card for the 100th anniversary.
Did he find one of the bombers?
Eh?
Did
Yeah.
he find one of the bombers, Lancaster one?
I think he probably was. They didn't say that there.
I think maybe that.
They've got this particular one. Now this is Warrant Officer Harold Alley. Uncle Harry Alley is a descendant of the Jala people. Born in Charters Towers, Queensland, he served in the Air Force for 23 years, attained Warrant Officer rank and had postings across Australia, Malaysia and the USA. Harry received a British Empire Medal and is the inaugural Indigenous Elder of the Royal Australian Air Force. So he was one of the notable Aboriginals in the Air Force. Then you have this little fella, this one here, Warrant Officer Len Waters. When the Second World War war erupted, young Kamilarol man Len Waters grabbed the chance to fulfil a dream to fly. Enlisting in the RAAF in August 1942, he graduated as a fighter pilot, flying P-40 Kitty Hawks in combat. Warrant Officer Len Waters holds the unique honour of being Australia's only known Indigenous fighter pilot in the Second World War.
All right.
So, again, look, I suppose, whenever you go to any department in Canberra, any government department, they're always on about the Indigenous land rights and all this stuff. But they always acknowledge the past of with the Aboriginals, and the Royal Australian Mint's no different. Whenever you go to any of their functions, they always sort of, basically say thank you for letting us be on your land. So anyway, so I suppose that's the reason why at least 2 of these are Indigenous. Okay, the 5th one is Warrant Officer John, or his nickname Snow Coghlan. As a young helicopter crewman during the Vietnam War, John Coghlan volunteered to be winched down to rescue survivors from burning US Army helicopter wreckage in known enemy territory and dense jungle. Warrant Officer Coghlan was the first RAAF member to receive a conspicuous gallantry medal since the Second World War. So it was in the Vietnam War. So he managed to get on the thing too. Mind you, all these all the $1 coins, they come out of the Mint Your Own machine in Canberra. They're all the same. It's just that the card comes out differently. So and if you're unlucky enough, they get them mixed up. So then you get 2.
Do you have to go to different machines to get different cards, do you?
No. There's only 2 machines, right? 2 Mint Your Own machines, one at the front, one at the back. And what happens is that they are supposed to have all 5 cards in a line, right? And then they go around and around. And you just put your money in, and the coin comes out and the card comes out at the same time. But the trouble is the people filling the hopper with the little cards, they don't sort of try and keep them in order. And every time they fill them up, they might have 2 or 3, or they get the sequence out of whack. So if you're trying to get a set, you might end up having to buy 6 or 7 coins because you're getting the card at the same time. So those coins are the only way to get those coins is to go to the mint and use the mint your own machines, right? You know, it's the only way you can get those coins. So because they sort of figure that they get good money out of the collector market doing that, they then produced these things, which is a 4-coin set. Again, same sort of design on the coin, but this time they put a little C mint mark, an M mint mark, a B mint mark, and a S mint mark. Right? So they sort of sell it as a set, so that you can sort of say, well, this is the Sydney coin. But again, they did get into a bit of trouble about these mint marks because you know, all these coins were made in Canberra. Yeah, they actually are. If you have a look at these, you know, like the Canberra mint mark, they say C Canberra mint mark, and then when you have a look at the B coin, it says B Brisbane Privy mark. So that's how they get around the mint mark issue, yeah, because it's a privy mark made in Canberra. M is a privy mark and S is a privy mark as well. So you know they're not saying it's been minted in Sydney, Canberra, Melbourne or Brisbane. They're saying it's a privy mark. So if you can, Rod can probably sort of zoom in on that a little bit. The coins are exactly the same. They just sort of basically fill, you know, just made an extra card just to get more money out of the collectors.
No wonder they didn't try and make 5 of those.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing. But anyway, that's all about the heroes of the sky. Now, mind you, in 3 weeks' time, January 1, the dies out of those mint your own machines are going to be gone. Right, a new set of dies will go into the 2 machines for whatever theme that they want, and they're very protective about what they don't tell you what the new dies are going to be until January 1.
What's on the first one to us? Tell us on the first what they are.
Do you know what they are already?
No. But well, I have that could be the frontline workers, but that's only a rumour.
Maybe. Who knows? But yeah, like yeah, again, those cards, yeah, the coins. Well, they got a cement mark on them, but this one here as well. You can only get them in Canberra. The cards come out with the coin out of the machine automatically, and as I said, it only comes out of those 2 machines. So you have to go there to do that. Yeah. And these ones, well, you can buy them anywhere. So that's so just if you can just show. Oh well, you can't show it from anyway. But, so yeah, the information about Warrant Officer Len Waters. He holds a unique place in the RAAF's history. He's a Kamilarra man who was born in 1924 on a reserve in northern New South Wales. He was the only known Indigenous fighter pilot in the Second World War. Enlisting in August 1942 to become a flight mechanic, he was later accepted for pilot training, joining 78 Squadron RAAF in the Southwest Pacific area. He saw action against the enemy first at Naomfor, and then Moratol and Tarakan in what is now Indonesia. He was flying a Kitty Hawk P-40N fighter in 1945. Over a period of 9 months, he was involved in 41 strike missions against fortified Japanese positions and another 54 operational flights to become a hero to his people. That's Len Waters, fighter pilot. All right, that's my display. It's all about the 100th anniversary of the RAAF in coin format.
Want to put them back over there?
Yep.
Thank you.
This is the last display, so I dare say that it's time for everybody to sort of look at their displays and vote for whichever one they want to vote for. and then we're basically going to finish the meeting, have our Christmas coffees and cakes.
I'll just
Yeah.
get a
Christmas grub.
container for you to put the votes in.
And then the final thing would be to tally up the votes and see who had the best display. All right then, that's, I suppose we'll close the meeting at that point, at this point in time, and we can start socialising. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, actually,
We have a very apt container.
Will that be big enough?
$1 coin now too.
Yeah.
Will that be big enough?
Yeah, I've got a copy. Yeah, most of them are there, and it goes up, it doesn't, the more recent ones are not there, but it goes up to like.
Yeah, I'm now at, I'm really close to home with just across the road from here.
They keep coming out every day.
Possible scientific days.
Yeah, with that book.
It's early, we could
Next
get
year,
it straight.
the points are not going to be in the book.
Yeah.
And you have to wait a few years for the next one.
No, we don't.
Yeah, that's right.
Even if we do decide, we've still got it.
Oh, yeah, for the federal money that comes in.
Maybe I should have put the screen up. But
No, well,
Most of my prisoners in America are, I saw one American police show and it was a privately run jail in something like 15 different law enforcement agencies. So there was Coast Guards and state and local police and FBI used the centre to bring all their prisoners. And it was private contractors running it. Because they probably shoot police officers. Most Australian prisons, they get caught, but that's it, they go nice. Yeah, it's a lot more federal accredited.
So what do I say about
To the restrictions.
Yeah.
Twenty-five?
go 20, that's it.
Hmm?
Go 20, but that's about all.
That's what they do now is,
20.
you know, when the cops come knocking, they are, we're gonna seize your assets. All right, where's your
$3.25.
assets? Oh, we're gonna take
There's
this out.
6, 17,
6.
I'll take the furniture, I rent it. I'll take the cars, I rent them. I
23,
do nothing,
and it's yours.
I just pay out a
Being
lot of
Christmas.
money. I never-
COVID-19 and inflation.
6 3s
So
are
when the
18.
cops grab it, they're broke, they haven't got a cent.
They're 18.
I've got the change.
Or it's been held by law,
There's one there.
so you never know.
Probably sold them all to you before. Probably sold them all to you before. You've only got 15. You've only got more than 15.
I've got change
So
of
at the
whatever
next
you want.
meeting, will you have this £500,000 coin
I don't think
to
I'll be
display?
able to be able to. I wouldn't be able to show it to you anyway, remember.
It's like
Italy
Italy now.
We showed the picture of it, and that's free.
Yeah, you can stand beside it.
Zero, but before
Yeah,
that was zero.
but, no, no,
That
yeah.
was
I'm sure it'd be a good investment, I think. Yeah, but sort of, people do
They've
it.
only got 22.
I hope you come back with the
Well,
results of that.
22.
Well, I'll definitely tell the result. Well, but I might be going to,
So,
I
23.
might
Alright.
maybe even watch the odd shot,
Charger a hard man.
which you can do.
You are. I wanted to keep those $2.
I'll be interested in that.
Where'd you get these from?
From the manufacturer. Bought them off the guy that made them. So $30 each.
$30 each. What's the latest?
The last one is the 2021 Wiggles. But then you've still got nine spots you can put them extra. So yeah. I think that he was trying to sell for 35 and I said, oh, give me some and I was trying to sell it for 30. They came out of a special.
Oh, we're going in the top.
Yeah, they came out of like a Franklin Mint.
They never learn, the coins like they do go, I don't think they ever learn to do water.
No interest.
You never, the sheep in Dubai or something like that. Yeah, they're well protected.
They got money, just what I'm always amazed at is just how much money pops out of the woodwork when